Recovery is possible.
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 Recovery dialogues and sober stories.
Welcome back to this bonus mini-episode of Recovery Dialogues and Sober Stories. I'm Antonio Matta. This brief bonus episode is a direct response to our recent conversation, unmasking porn addiction, emotional isolation, and the pressure to be a man. I received a candid and admittedly provocative email, sharing thoughts on why men might be drawn to pornography. Here's what he said. Maybe men are getting addicted to pornography because there's no skinny middle and working class women left to be in a relationship with. Fat positivity? Sure, whatever. But don't blame men for looking in other places to satisfy their biological instincts when human aesthetic markers for long life and successful, complication-free childbearing have not changed one bit. Trying to rewrite history and say that overweight women are attractive because they survive famine is very silly. We're not cavemen. If you're a woman and you're so fat nobody can tell you're pregnant, you're going to need to have every bit of modern medicine at your disposal to get remotely close to a normal statistical chance at having a healthy, complication-free birth and not have preventable birth defects in the child. It's harsh, but it's the truth. Survey men who can afford $100 a plate restaurants and 100% cash down on their sports car of choice. See how many of them have an issue with pornography addiction. Probably almost none. Janis Joplin used to be the average female physique. Now it's what? Lizzo? Meghan Trainor? I'm grateful for this individual's perspective and appreciate him taking the time to write to me. Conversations like this are exactly why I do this show, to engage with the tough questions that society often sidesteps. I appreciate his honesty and the courage it takes to lay out his perspective so plainly. His point about Janis Joplin really hits home. She's one of my favorite voices from the 60s, too. Her raw, untamed talent reminds us of an era when authenticity seemed to cut through the noise, even in the face of so much societal contradiction. She sang it like it was. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. That's a line that resonates deeply with so many of us navigating questions of desire, freedom, and authenticity in an age of contradictions. When it comes to body image and attraction, the listener is absolutely right that biology and evolutionary markers have played a role in shaping human preferences. But it's also important to recognize how profoundly our environment, social, cultural, and economic, has shaped both our perceptions and our realities. The rise in obesity is a complex systemic issue, tied to food deserts, marketing, poverty, and trauma, not just individual choices or willpower. For example, studies show that food swamps, areas flooded with unhealthy food options, are even stronger predictors of obesity rates than food deserts alone. That speaks volumes about the environment's role in shaping health outcomes. At the same time, I understand the frustration some men feel when they perceive a disconnect between what they're biologically drawn to and what's available in the dating pool. But I'd also challenge us to dig deeper. Why is it that so many men, regardless of socioeconomic status, feel disconnected from real intimacy and instead turn to the artificial dopamine hits of pornography? Is it only about attraction? Or is it also about loneliness, alienation, and a culture that commodifies sex while neglecting the emotional and relational needs that real intimacy requires? Research has shown that pornography use is often linked to loneliness and can even serve as a maladaptive coping mechanism for emotional distress. It's easy to place the blame on shifting beauty standards or on women's bodies themselves, but we'd be missing a crucial part of the story if we didn't also acknowledge the broader economic and cultural forces at play. The pressures that shape women's bodies also shape men's expectations, and neither side comes out unscathed. This individual has brought a tough point to the table, one that touches on evolutionary biology, modern health, cultural shifts, and the psychological needs that drive people toward or away from real intimacy. And I think we should keep the dialogue open and look at how all of these forces, biology, culture, economics, technology, and personal experience, intertwine to shape human connection and addiction in our world today. These are the conversations we're having on Recovery Dialogues and Sober Stories. If you want to be part of the community, subscribe and follow the show, share, like, comment, and stay tuned for discussions from lived experience experts and clinical experts sharing insights and experiences through a nuanced lens that traverses the mental health and addiction recovery landscape. We're not afraid to talk about what's most pertinent to those in recovery and their loved ones. We provide knowledge, support, and community, continually bringing forth irrefutable evidence that recovery is emphatically and undeniably possible. Be well, be brave, believe.
Recovery is possible. Recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery is possible.
Recovery dialogues and sober stories.